They say what's happening. We say the facts and then they lie. We coming back for them. They might say that they don't know. They say they don't know. Do 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 do. Ah, the sweet taste of victory. Go ahead and breathe it in like antihistamines. I know they gonna say, yay, snapped on this beat. Fuck you expect? I got a history. Groupie love now gotta be them wheels. Haters back now gotta be that steel. I know they can't wait till you're out of your deal. Look how they did D'Angelo. Ask him, how does it feel? That nigga used to be ill. Okay? That nigga Kanye absolutely used to be fucking ill. Shout out to everyone that knows about those two illustrious common projects. One titled B and the other one titled Finding Forever. Finding Forever. When them two Chicago Negroes linked up, Common and Kanye West, gold. It was gold. And now that nigga Kanye is garbage. But damn, peak yay. What happened to him, y'all? Put out the Amber Alert. What happened to Peak Yay? I don't know what happened to that nigga, but you know what? Fuck that nigga by this time. Anyway, welcome everybody to the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We burn things down around here. This is mainly a sounding board for complaints about the empire and complaints about society. Be very clear. Like, I admire everybody that goes out there and does the work. I am not a worker. Okay. I am not a boss either, but I assure you, I am not a worker. I am a microphone wrecker. All right. This is what we do from right here. And we applaud everybody that does more. So let me just say that. But I want to welcome everybody to the show tonight. We've got a good one in store for you. Please come on in, make yourself comfortable, make yourself at home. I'd like to welcome all of our guests, all of our Fire fan first. Guests, welcome. We welcome y'all secondarily because Fire fan, we show love to the fam pre-metal, right? But to the guests, thank you guys for stopping by because we have gotten a little boost of subscribership around here. I don't know if these people is coming back to look at the shit, but they hitting subscribe. So fuck it, we gonna roll with that shit. So thank you to the newcomers. And as I remind you, we are in the middle of our winter fundraiser. I will be thanking those that have extended their material support to the channel thus far. It is most appreciative, and I will be calling you by name. So be ready because everybody gonna see you and shit. So, nah, I'm just kidding. But anyway. Oh, let me say what's up to everybody that's checking in the chat. What's up, Lady Alex? There go Valley Girls. Hey, Valley Girls. Damian Stoner Loner, shout out to the Around the Fire Disability Support Chat Community. Shout out to the good sis, Lady Heloise. What's up to Anna Hart, Mama Lorraine, Learn Life Abby. Shout out to all of our mods. Well, all two of y'all, Latif and Courtney. um, there's been some discussion about maybe adding some more mods, but some of y'all. I worry about the power. I worry. Some of y'all might let the power go to your head. Shout out to Chuck Diesel as well. Chuck don't be showing up to work, but he still get a check. How the fuck he pull that off? That's G shit. You guys try to get like Chuck Diesel out here. Who else we got up in the joint? Shout out to everybody. Hold on. You know how I do around these pods. Oh, there go Alicia. Thank you so much, baby, for making the time. What's up, James? Checking in from the shy. James. I know the shy be asking what the maybe the shy just gave up. Maybe the shy stopped asking about Kanye. They just stopped inquiring. They just start shaking their head. What's up, Donnie? Thank you so much for making the time and coming through, baby. So listen, you guys, I'm not gonna jangle here too long. I want us to get into the program. What's up, 40J Blaze? I've got some stories that I want to talk to you guys about. And sometimes when the headlines from so-called celebrity stories enter the chat, so to speak, it's important that we raise them up. And I know a lot of people have already been dissecting and doing a lot of talk around this latest lawsuit alleging sexual harassment and sexual assault against Sean P. Diddy Combs. 2024 was always going to be a year, y'all, where the truth was going to come out, whether or not motherfuckers was ready for the shit or not. And I think it's an important conversation to have about our brothers or men in general who are sexually harassed, who are propositioned by other men, but in so-called hetero circumstances, right? We're not talking about Diddy was at the gay club picking up niggas. No, Diddy was trying to recruit some straights. He was trying to get the straights to come over and in dally with him sexually. And it's not right for anybody to be pressured for sex, coerced into sex. And in what one allegation in this lawsuit puts forth is that Diddy allegedly drugged this man for sex. So I want us to get into a little bit of the lawsuit and how, what a year. And speaking of what a year for, scumbag motherfuckers, Wendy Williams. I told my Instagram crew, I said this Friday night, I said I'm going to be watching that Wendy Williams documentary, not because I'm a fan of Wendy Williams, and I think I've said that here numerous times. Definitely not a fan of Wendy Williams. And to the Wendy Williams fans, I have questions for you about why is your fandom? This is questions I want to get into in the segment. But Wendy's documentary was extremely revealing. It was very graphic. Many online are saying that it was exploitative of the media personality. I'm not sure I agree with that. But I want us to talk about substance abuse, particularly alcoholism. That might hit a few of y'all. that might hit a few of y'all. I have intimate experience with alcoholics. And what I saw from Wendy Williams was very on brand for gifted drunks, okay? Because not every drunk is gifted. Not every drunk can hold their liquor. This chick was holding her liquor, at least in some portions, but it was a doozy of a documentary. I want us to get into it and look at it through the lens of a lot of lenses. So I wanted to do that. But to start us off, I actually wanted us to go back and check in. I have an update on a story that we brought you here on Burn It Down with Kim Brown. I want to say coming up on 3 years ago. So August 25th in Washington, D.C. I want to say this was 2021 or 2020. You guys know time has evaded me. So let me see if I can get my thoughts together here. Do me a favor, everybody. Give the video a like, a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, follow us different places around the internet at BIDWKB. This story we brought you here first on the platform back in 2021 is when it was. It was August. And An'Twan Gilmore was a young man who was behind the wheel of his car at the intersection of New York Avenue and Florida Avenue in Northeast DC. It's a very heavily traveled intersection. About 3 a.m., other drivers called the police because they noticed that a young man who turned out to be An'Twan had fallen asleep behind the wheel. And he was just sleeping behind the driver's seat with his foot on the brake. Police arrived at the scene, and when police approached him, officers had their body cams rolling. And they approached him. I believe they was several officers deep encircling the vehicle with their shields up and everything. And when they awakened An'Twan, first of all, they could see that he had a gun in his waistband, right? His hand was not on the gun. To be clear, he wasn't pointing the gun. He didn't have his hand on the gun. They just saw a gun, right? And unfortunately, sometimes that's all it takes. So when officers approached him, they saw a gun, and An'Twan was awakened, and he was startled. So he took his foot off the brake. The car lurched forward, and you could see he didn't know what the fuck was going on. So he was trying to leave. So as soon as the car accelerated slightly or moved forward slightly, one officer opened fire, firing 10 shots. I believe 7 of these shots went into An'Twan, and he died. There was a number of protests in the city after An'Twan Gilmore was killed because, again, he was a sleeping man behind a vehicle. He was not threatening officers in any way. There's no reason the officers should have feared for their life, and yet one officer decided to open fire. I want us to actually take a look from this show back in 2021. And we're going to see some protest footage that was captured by justice journalist Chuck Modiano. Shout out to Chuck Modiano. We've been friends with Chuck Modiano around these parts for a minute. And Chuck was on the scene speaking to An'Twan Gilmore's family members as they were demanding for charges to be brought, which, might I add, they were not immediately brought, but eventually they were. So let's take a look back to 2021. The compilation of videos, guys, they were already in the streets last night for An'Twan Gilmore. Shout out to DMV Black Lives in the city. Shout out to Shutdown DC. Shout out to Good Trouble Co-op. They had the folks already out. And of course, Chuck Modiano was on the scene and he had the opportunity to speak with members of An'Twan Gilmore's family. Let's take a look at that.
An'Twan Gilmore, from his family, from his community, that have taken so many people from us. Are we going to just stand by and let it happen? Are we going to fight this racist police? I mean, we got to say his name. Say his name. Say his name.
Say lost for words. We're lost for words. We're going to keep his memory alive, his name alive. We want accountability. We want them to be held accountable. We're going to keep our foot on their neck. We're not letting up. My cousin's life meant something. He meant something. They didn't even know if he had any medical distress or any medical history. The only ambulance you seen was in the camera back there. When the young lady was recording, when she actually said, let me go back around, she had a gut feeling, let me go back around because she felt something. And just from her response, my cousin was asleep in the car. They were playing chicken hide and go seek. They were trying to figure out what they wanted to do. They had their eyes on my cousin. They wanted my cousin for what? I don't know. He was a good man. But at the end of the day, you're going to be held accountable. His life meant something, and 10 shots was not right. 10 shots with the man who didn't threaten you at all. And if your body cam, the officer didn't say not one time his hands was on the gun. The officer said, let me get more light so I can see his hands. Oh, he's waking up, he's waking up. Not one time did he say he pointed the gun or his hands was on the gun. So no, our feet are on your neck and we're not letting up, and justice will be served for An'Twan Gilmore, AKA Model Baby, AKA Juvie. Love you, cuz.
Run the police, man. We can protect ourselves, man. They just killed a sleeping man. Fuck out of here.
Of course, outstanding journalism right there by Chuck Modiano, justice journalist here in DC. Guys, follow Chuck Modi if you haven't not already on the good social medias, because especially when it comes to actions in DC, Chuck is always down there. And I like the fact. So just to give you an idea how long that this situation has been going on, that was August of 2021. Here we are now, knocking on March of 2024. So it took 2 years for charges to be announced against the cop that murdered An'Twan Gilmore. This officer, Jevric, he was a sergeant from DC's 5th District, Metropolitan Police. Again, the only officer on the scene to shoot his gun at a sleeping person. So the update is that he was facing, the cop that is, was facing second-degree murder charges, and now the cop has decided to take a plea. Will, let's take a look at the reporting from WUSA 9.
Again, with a brand new guilty plea from a DC police officer. Good evening, I'm Leslie Foster. That MPD sergeant is charged with shooting and killing 27-year-old An'Twan Gilmore. Investigators say Gilmore had been sleeping in a car moments before his death back in 2021. People in the community held protests to demand justice in the days that followed. Adam Longo walks us through the guilty plea just tonight and how Gilmore's family is feeling.
So this is a story that we have followed closely for more than 2 years now. Perhaps you'll remember this officer-worn body camera footage. It captured the shooting death of 27-year-old An'Twan Gilmore. MPD Sergeant Enis Jevric fired 10 shots at the vehicle. This was August of 2021. Now, the U.S. Attorney for D.C. announcing Friday night that Jevric has pled guilty to 2 charges: involuntary manslaughter and violation of constitutional rights by excessive force. Now, the shooting happened around 3 o'clock in the morning, August 25th, 2021. Officers called out to the intersection of New York Avenue and Florida Avenue in Northeast for reports of a man either sleeping or passed out in a car. So police on the scene here, they get spooked because they see that the man inside of the car has a gun. A knock on the window, Gilmore wakes up, the car rolls forward a little bit, stops, then rolls forward again, and Jevric opens fire. Now, he was the only officer to shoot. Nearly 2 years later, March of 2023 now, prosecutors charge him with second-degree murder. And that decision was applauded at the time by An'Twan Gilmore's family. They remembered him as a beautiful person who was influential in his family's lives. But in today's plea hearing, according to the Washington Post, Gilmore's sister told the court that, quote, some justice is better than no justice, but some justice is no justice at all. The U.S. Attorney's Office says Jevric will be sentenced in July. He will continue to remain out of jail until then. He is facing a minimum of 6 years on both counts.
So shameful that this plea was accepted. This man committed second-degree murder, right? And to be clear, I ain't no judge, I ain't no lawyer, I ain't no juror, I ain't none of that. I ain't no defense attorney, I ain't none of that. But that's murder. That's not involuntary manslaughter. This person, this officer, made an intentional decision to discharge his weapon at somebody that, number one, he knew moments prior had been dead asleep. Pardon the phrase, but this man was in a deep sleep. You know how sleep you got to be to fall asleep with your foot on the brake? Pretty fucking sleep, right? Sleep or passed out. We will never actually know, right? But sleep, unconscious, right? Not aware of what was happening around him, but at the same time not posing a danger to anybody. I tell you guys, I've told this so many times, simply Black people being in possession of a gun or having a gun in proximity for some reason is reason enough for cops to fear for their life. When actual white people, actual whites detained or attempted to be arrested by cops will literally point guns at the fucking cops, and the cops will somehow find a way not to murder them, find a way not to kill them. It's incredible, though not accidental. I am not certain, as you heard from the reporter there quoting An'Twan Gilmore's family member, who was quoted in the Washington Post, who said that some justice is better than no justice at all, but some justice is actually not justice. And for this cop to only be facing maximum of 6 years on each count, my guess is that when he goes back for sentencing, by the way, this police has been free as a bird. Free as a fucking bird. To my knowledge, he has not lost his job. There may be some information out there to contradict that. I am not aware that this officer has been relieved of duty. But then again, there's been so many cops, particularly in the D.C., Maryland area, Northern Virginia too, but D.C. and Prince George's County for certain have blamed on so many people in recent years. I have a tendency to get these things confused, but he still remains free. The cop, that is. He is not awaiting sentencing in a jail cell. So he's getting to enjoy his freedom. As the privileges continue to be extended for killer cops, they get all the freedoms that most people charged with similar crimes are not afforded. And if we're talking about a max of 12 years, I have a feeling that the judge is probably going to sentence him to 6 years or something like that, but the for each count or something to that extent. But the sentences are going to be served concurrently with 4 years suspended, all these accommodations made for killer cops. Recent weeks have found the Washington, D.C. City Council passing a crime bill which gives police, in fact, more freedoms, more abilities to do things like pursue, quote, suspects in car chases through the city, which I don't think they were previously allowed to do. this officer, Jevric, is going to be the third to plead guilty in connection to a murder of a citizen was on duty in as many years. Here last year, two cops who were convicted on second-degree murder charges in connection to a young man that they chased on a moped, who ended up getting into a fatal accident and dying, Karan Hilton Brown. But all that was through the fault and the actions and the conduct of the cops, and those cops were found guilty criminally. I don't think that those cops have been yet sentenced, and I think they still remain free until sentencing. So I don't think that this is justice at all. I think this was second degree murder. I think a jury in DC would have convicted this cop of that. And I think it was very cowardly of the DC state's attorney to accept this plea of involuntary manslaughter. And I just wanted to bring you guys this update. I try to keep y'all apprised of stories. I don't just like to bring you a story and that's it. I just talked about the story that one time. No. This was a story that affected the community here. This was a year and some change after the murder of George Floyd. And the city, as I imagine most cities around the country, was still very raw as the police were continuing to kill Black people after the murder of George Floyd. So, you guys, I wish we could tap into that same anger energy that we saw in those protest scenes. I wish we could activate that more frequently than only after somebody is murdered by the state, right? And maybe that kind of energy only comes out in those circumstances, but I'm not sure if that's the truth. I think that kind of energy can be mobilized on a regular basis because our condition continues to be very, very poorly out here, right? Not just for oppressed people in this country, obviously still seeing what's happening to people in Palestine and then throughout the region there and then in the global south, like, oppressed people got it a little tough out here. So if we can muster that kind of forceful rage, when people have not been murdered, but I guess people are always getting murdered. They may not always be getting murdered here by the state, even though it seems that they are, but they're definitely getting murdered by other states, other places. So we just wanted to send continued solidarity to the Gilmore family. I'm still so very deeply sorry that this young man was stolen from his people in this way by the state. I hope that a civil suit is forthcoming if it is not already pending. The city needs to compensate Antoine's family for stealing him, and even monetary compensation is not going to be enough because ultimately they want their family member back. They don't want a check, they want their fucking family member back. 10 million, 20 million, that shit don't bring Antoine back. But since we can be compensated and we do need compensation for the trauma and for the absence of this individual, I hope the Gilmore family absolutely gets that. Let me take a little pause here for the cause here before we move on to our next stories. I want to thank everybody for checking in. What's up, my son Tyler? Thank you so much for being here, Tyler. Say what's up to your mom and dad for us. What's up, John Kemper? Thank you so much for being here. Shout out, see you out here, Latif. Appreciate it. Well, let's talk. Let us talk about the fundraiser, gang. Now, I don't like to dry beg. Woo, yeah, everybody familiar with the concept of dry begging. So dry begging is you don't come out and ask for the money, right? You be like, whew, y'all, Will is expensive out here. Or what's another thing? Ooh, the subscription to Adobe Audition. Ooh, that's just getting high. That's dry begging where you kind of, pussyfooting around the fact that you need money. But instead of coming out and asking for the money, what's up, Fernie Francais? You just allude to the fact that you need money. You don't make any direct appeals for it. Oh, no, no, no. See, here at Burn It Down with Kim Brown, what is the point of dry begging when you can wet beg? I don't even know what. I don't even know if the opposite of dry begging is wet begging, but no, no, no. We're just going to outright beg. I mean, beg, a beg. Let me say that. So we do fundraisers a few times a year. We try to do this like quarterly. So we ain't NPR or PBS out here hitting you over the head every 3 goddamn weeks. It seems like NPR stay begging for money, don't they? Shout out to Pacifica. We love WPFW, but dog, didn't y'all just have a fundraiser like 3-4 weeks ago? What the fuck? But anyway, we do our shit quarterly around here. That means every 4 months, or is that 3 months? See, I was about to say something slick, and look at me, my dumb ass not knowing either. So anyway, we're in the midst of this. So any support, material or otherwise, now you can run the channel. Now is the time. I know it's tax time. I know some of y'all got broke off from the federal government. I know you sitting on a couple extra dollars. And that's all we need is a couple extra dollars. So you can do this in the ways that is most convenient for you. You can do it directly via some super chats, like the good brother Matthew Siegfried has just run us some bucks. Thank you so much, brother Matt. He said, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, Matt S. Shout out to Librarian for your super thanks support from earlier. And please, as I call your name, I'd like for you to please stand and be acknowledged. Okay, stand and be acknowledged when I call your name here. Let me start with these cash apps. Shout out to I believe this is Infinite Content who just did us some of that. What's up to Jay Kofi? Thank you so much for your support. Mama Lorraine, Anna Hart, Lucy L, quote the Raven. Thank you so much. Shout out to Alicia. Thank you so much. Jody P. Thank you so much. Xavier J, thank you so very much for your support, your Cash App support. Derek L, Quaker, thank you so much for your Cash App support. Shout out to hold on. Oh, that says Dina D. Thank you so much for your support. Patrick S, thank you so much for your Cash App support. We appreciate that so much. And so the Cash App is $BIDWKB. We appreciate that. Yes, Dina D ran us some PayPal. We appreciate that. Patrons, what's up, Matt? Thank you for becoming a new patron. AK, thank you for becoming a new patron. Strin, thank you for re-upping on your patronage. I'd like to thank Franny Francais. I believe Franny Francais re-upped on her patronage as well. Big up to we have another Matt. Thank you so much, Matt S. Is that you, Matt Siegfried? Did you become a patron as well? Or we got a different Matt S. We'll take it. We'll take John Kemper as a patron. We'll take John Koister as a patron. Johnny K's, 2 of them. Roll them up. We appreciate that. Court W, appreciate your patronage. And of course, to our established patrons along the lines of a Shirley. Shout out to Alexandria M for being a patron as well for the new and extended patronage of that. So, money. Yes. Back to the money. We appreciate your money. We see your money. We need your money. So please support us for the remainder of the week as we continue in our winter fundraiser. I know it is 80 degrees in Texas, and I know y'all are like, Kim, winter where? Where is it winter in February in the United States? Well, it's supposed to be winter. It's still February in the United States. Normally, it would be cold, but climate change has got us on some shit. So fuck it. We adhering to the calendar and not the climate at the moment. So appreciate all the support in our winter fundraiser. anything that you can send and you can support is certainly appreciated. And we deeply appreciate all of the free support that we receive week in and week out. Everyone who shows up in the chat, who likes, who subscribes, who, got something slick back to say to my haters in the comments. I appreciate all that shit. I deeply appreciate it all. And I just wanted to communicate that to you all. Wait. We did get a couple new super chats here. Oh shit, Franny got her taxes, everybody. Franny got her taxes back. Yo, that's what I'm talking about. Franny France. She says, all love to Bagheera, Kim, Will, and Molly. Listen, thank you so much, Franny. Bagheera definitely appreciates the support. She definitely does. Bagheera appreciates the shout outs. I be telling her she's famous on the internet. She just looks at me like she don't believe me. I'm like, I said, Bagheera, that's because you don't watch my show. If you watch the show, you would know this. But she be faking. John Kemper, thanks again for the support. We begging, wet begging. Wet begging works. Thank you. Afra sings, thank you so much for your Cash App support, Afra. We appreciate that. Afra is a patron as well, and a longtime supporter and a real life supporter of not only the platform, but of its host. So thank you so much to Afra. And guys, I appreciate this so much. So I might beg again before the hour is up. So, get ready. I will be PBS and NPR at this. Yes, I will be begging once again, just so y'all know it's real. So anyway, thank you guys again. Woo! So where should we begin, you guys? Should we start with messy and end with messy, or lead with messy and messier? I want to start with Wendy Williams. Give the video a like, a thumbs up, share, subscribe, comment, do all the relevant things. Because, gang, over the weekend, Lifetime Television aired a two-night documentary about Wendy Williams. Where is Wendy Williams was the name of it. And it was very graphic. It was pretty explicit. And it showed this once towering media personality in a state of mental and physical decline. Okay. And the first night I watched it, I thought I was being taken, meaning I didn't believe necessarily what I was seeing. I was seeing a person so seemingly disconnected from real life. I thought it was an act. I thought she was putting us on. I thought at the end of night 2, we were being set up for the launch of the new Wendy Williams podcast coming to Spotify or whatever the fuck. I just knew we were being primed for some sort of marketing ploy. And when the second night ended and no such launch announcement came, I said, wow, a lot of this might have been real. A lot of this might have been real. And to be clear, I think I've said it before. And I know y'all like Kim. Yes, you've said this numerous times. You do not like Wendy Williams. Yes, but the reasons that I don't like Wendy Williams is because I have a certain respect for her, but I do not like, nor do I appreciate, nor do I admire in any way the ways in which she reached the heights of her fame, right? Wendy Williams created a reputation as being a gossip, as being the go-to person for Black entertainment gossip. But in doing so, she ceased to be a reporter and more of a commentator, more of a moral judgment passer on how certain celebrities were conducting themselves, or she was quick to amplify gossip, things that had not yet been corrected nor verified, nor any of that. And in addition to what I took really particular umbrage to with her insistence on trying to out closeted gay entertainers or people rumored or suspected to be gay who may not even been gay, but she didn't let that stop her. Watching her documentary reminded me of the absolute harassment that she gave Whitney Houston about Whitney's substance abuse, right? In particular, like very specifically, it was Whitney on crack, is Whitney on coke, Whitney. And it's like, retrospectively looking back, like, bitch, you not only admitted that you had a coke problem, and here you are being very condemning and somewhat smug and mocking about Whitney's obvious substance abuse problem. You put down the coke and picked up the bottle. Okay. And I wanted to just remind folks, because I know people, it's wild to me. Like, I think that everybody knows about Wendy Williams' past prior to her getting the Wendy Williams show, which aired on daytime television for 10 years. But I'm realizing that you actually have to be at least 40 or older to even know about Radio Wendy. And Radio Wendy, and she was a menace. She was an absolute menace. Will, I want you to cue up the Wendy Williams, because I want to get to some of the clips of the documentary. But for those who don't know the kind of shit that Wendy Williams would play, cue up that Whitney Houston joint, Will, and I want you to cue it to about 5 minutes, 5 seconds. And let me know when you get it up there, because this is a very infamous exchange between Whitney Houston and Wendy Williams. And this came after months of Wendy dragging Whitney on her very popular, I believe at the time, syndicated radio show. Just as a set aside, Charlemagne the God was Wendy Williams' sidekick. So that should give you an indication of her lineage of terrible, right? And I'm going to come back to you Wendy Williams fans out there, because all of this rewriting of who she was and what she did, all this shit, they were like, oh, Wendy was such an inspiration, and Wendy just told it like it was. What did she tell besides mess? What the fuck inspiration did anybody find from Wendy Williams' content? All she did was talk shit and pop mess. I need to know the ways in which any audience was positively uplifted by Wendy Williams. And I said, these sad ass niggas out here, like, you niggas don't even have taste. You niggas don't even know what real inspiration is. Is this your queen? Is this your queen of inspiration? I would even be more respectful to motherfuckers who fake said Oprah. Because goddamn, at least Oprah do say some shit that might lift you up. What the fuck has Wendy Williams ever said that has inspired anything positive? You got the joint queued up, Brother Will?
Yep.
All right,
my about brother. 5 minutes in? I think I got it in.
Yeah, about 5:05, and you just let it run. Just let it run to the end. So go ahead and play that when you're ready.
All right.
Your schedule on a day-to-day basis, or who you gonna talk about, how you gonna talk about them?
Yes.
Well, that's how I do.
So we love the song, the Dear John letter here on the show.
Yes, ma'am.
And speaking of letters, you no longer have to write to Bobby. Bobby's out of jail. Bobby's back home now?
Yes, baby. You get all the info, don't you? You got the 411. You should know.
I want to make sure that I have all my stories straight.
Yes, baby. He's home. Well and intact.
Do you regret Diane Sawyer interview?
No. Why should I?
Well, it didn't exactly show you in the best light.
You don't think so? Well, you don't show yourself in the best light. People still listen to you.
Yeah, but I'm on the radio every day.
Yeah, we just don't get to see your face, but they should know what you look like.
I understand that, Whitney. Perhaps one day I will have a TV show, but in terms of what I do, when I'm not shown in the best light, I guess one of the best things that I love about my career is that there's always tomorrow to come back.
See, and I love about my career is that my music speaks for itself.
Yeah, well, it does.
You know what I mean? So, I am the second most interviewed behind Monica Lewinsky in the history of interviews.
I'm surprised you're second to her. I mean, as far as...
You're not like too cool if I come behind her, but it's all right with me because, I got a lot of mileage from that. And I think that people, basically, the people that I talked to that have made comments to me were very proud of me because it was a moment. See, I'm not one for sitting down and talking to people. You can talk all you want about me, but my mother always said, don't try to find a lie with truth, because then you make it worse. Because people like to lie for whatever reason they like to lie on you about. Right. However, I thought that it was a major step for me to sit with Diane Sawyer, the biggest interviewer in the world, and talk with her and give her what basically I thought I could give, And I think people enjoyed that, seeing me and seeing me growing and being a spiritual person, and that I have a family that loves me and cares about me and protects me. And that was the idea, Wendy.
Yeah, no, it was very entertaining.
You thought it was entertaining?
Yes.
You're funny.
Yeah, I mean, please, me and everybody, we were all watching together. I recently...
There were some very funny moments.
Yeah, well, yeah, from start to end, it was quite entertaining, Whitney.
Well, I'm glad you were entertained, because you watched it, didn't you?
So Whitney, as far as you stand with drug use, is there drug use going on at this present time?
Who are you talking to?
To you, Whitney. You.
No, you're not talking to me. I'm a mother. Only my mother has privy to that information. You talk to your child about that. Don't ask me no questions like I'm a child. You talk to your baby about her, what she gonna be confronting or what she got to deal with.
And
don't ask me like I'm a child, because I'm a child, Wendy.
My child is a little boy, and I will talk to him about drugs.
Talk to him about that shit. Don't talk to me about that shit.
But listen, Whitney, I will talk to my son about drugs because I have been where the world speculates where you are, which is I was a full-blown cocaine addict. So
that's your problem, not mine. Move on.
Well, that was my problem, Whitney.
You helped yourself. Did you ask God to help you?
And no, I managed, thank God, because I have a good man. And so thank God I was able to just rise up above it and quit. And all I asked... Okay. And you, on Diane Sawyer, also mentioned that you'd want to see receipts behind the drug use. Which,
man, if I spent that much money, somebody better give me some receipts so I get a tax return.
Well, speaking of spending money, so recently I was hearing that you were trying to trim the budget, which, by the way, Whitney, I thought that this was something very...
Where the hell did you get your information? Who's calling you and telling you?
Well, I got this story from a gossip named Steve Hers. You ever hear of him?
No. Well, like you said, gossip. Yeah.
Steve Hers is a West Coast correspondent, and I communicate with all the different gossips. It's what we do,
you guys all get together and have a gossip lunch, huh?
Something like that. Anyway, Whitney, they're saying that you're doing some massive budget cuts.
I'm doing massive changes.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I wanted to let you know that this is something I think is good. This is a good Whitney thing.
You like it. You approve. Yeah, Whitney approve.
Oh, Whitney, please. Listen, they were saying that you cut your mother's...
See, you don't know what the...
allowance.
You don't make me curse on the radio. I'm trying to be, come on.
Well, Steve was saying it was from about like $1,600 a week to about $500 a week.
Tell you to kiss my...
Okay.
And so can anybody else ever think I'd do that to my mother, you low down dirty...
He also was letting me know that Michael, Gary, and your sister Donna, who run your Nippy company, are also experiencing the slashes across the board. They were saying that you have a 24-hour-a-day bar on site at your studio that you're now cutting down, and you're not making your personal chef available to people to just come up in your house and just order food and stuff. I think that's all good.
That never happened. I don't even know what the you're talking about.
Well,
I have no idea what you're talking about, Wendy.
How is Bobby Christina doing?
Growing and being a beautiful young lady that God sent her here to be.
Yeah, she's 9 now, right?
Yeah, she is.
When your husband was incarcerated for those few days, what types of things do you tell her concerning, like, do you say, like, Daddy's away visiting Boston?
What are we talking to? A retard? She's a sped patient. She's a child who has intelligence.
Okay.
My child is smart.
No, what
I talk to shush your mouth. I talk to her like she's an intelligent human being, okay? And I give her just as much as she can handle for a 9-year-old because I'm her mother, okay? And that's how we deal with it. Never mind what I told her, but she know the deal.
Well, a lot of parents whose spouse or what have you goes through something, particularly because that was only 8 days, would have either taken them out of school for the 8 days or taken them away from watching TV to, see headlines.
I do what I do to protect my daughter, Wendy, just like you would do to protect your son, okay? All right.
You are very defensive, Whitney.
I have to be, Wendy. You talk about me every f***ing day.
Well, Whitney,
every other day.
Whitney, you keep yourself in the headlines.
No, Wendy, y'all keep me in the headlines. I mind my business. I try to maintain what I got. I want to know what I'm doing all the time. I don't give a shit about what you're doing all the time. As long as you're healthy and God is blessing you and you're doing the right thing and being a decent person, I can handle that.
When's the last time you talked to Robin?
About a week ago.
Because I know that you and Robin were girlfriends from when you were growing up.
And we're still friends, girl.
Okay. Will she be working back with you, or is she still...
Wendy. What's Robin got to do anything? No, Robin don't work for me. She'll work for me now. Moving right along.
Okay, so our king of R&B, is he working on an album? Bobby, is Bobby working on an album?
Yes, ma'am.
When do you think his album will be out?
Very soon, Wendy, I'm sure.
A numerologist came on the show the other week.
Hell.
And we ran you guys numbers. And for what it's worth, the numerologist said that you and Bobby are so right for each other.
Honey, he's so right. He's never been more right in his life. That's the most rightest thing you ever said.
Yeah, thank you, Whitney.
There was another portion of that, and don't worry about it, Will, but there a different excerpt of that same conversation where Whitney had told Wendy that, Wendy, you from Asbury Park, New Jersey. I, Whitney Houston, and from Newark. You keep fucking playing games. I'm going to show you I'm from Newark, said Whitney Houston infamously. Wow, that just goes to show you how long ago that particular clip was. Whitney, rest in power, was alive. Her daughter, oh my God, Bobby Chris was only 9 and Bobby Chris is gone. But a couple of things jumped out there, guys. For one, Wendy Williams told Whitney Houston that she didn't think that the interview that Whitney had done with Diane Sawyer was portraying her in the best light. Is Whitney cackling from heaven right now after that graphic documentary of Wendy Williams clearly not being shown in the best light? In that interview, Whitney Houston got from Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams said to Whitney, well, Whitney, I have a good man at home. Came to find out, Wendy's ex-husband, Kevin Hunter, maybe not a good man. Maybe not a good man, spending her money on his side girlfriend, and they had a baby while Wendy and Kevin were still together. And let's bring this full circle to the Wendy Williams documentary. It's just very ironic to me, and I'm not going to lie. I don't rejoice in people's misfortune at all. But I do appreciate karmic justice when you see it come round. And that Wendy Williams documentary was in some ways some karma for Wendy based off the way that she treated people like Whitney in people like Whitney who were similarly situated. And again, this is not to take up for celebrity. This is solely looking at this from inside of their world, well, from the outside looking inside their world. But Whitney Houston was doing exactly what she told Wendy she was doing. She said, I'm minding my business and trying to maintain my position. That's it. You don't have to speculate about my drug use. You don't speculate about my children. You don't speculate about how much money I'm giving my mama. And some would say that is the nature of the game. But the way that Wendy Williams played that game was particularly insensitive, I think, with intention. And again, we're talking in this case about Whitney Houston. Whether or not Wendy wanted to admit it at that time or not, it was someone who was clearly dealing with substance abuse. And Wendy even recognized that herself by admitting her cocaine problem. But that didn't stop her from antagonizing publicly and repeatedly on a daily, if not weekly basis, a person that she knew in some form or another was having an issue with substance abuse, right? And Wendy allowed herself to pile on to Whitney, as well as the rest of the paparazzi, white press, black press. And Wendy was part of that. And we lost Whitney eventually from substance abuse. So I'm not saying Whitney, all these itnies and these W start with a W, N with a Y is fucking me up. But I'm not saying Wendy bears any responsibility for Whitney Houston's demise. But what I am saying, the way that she handled and dealt with Whitney was an extreme poor taste. And not something, and not in a conduct that I particularly view as being admirable, right? I seriously cram to understand. I don't understand why this lady has engendered such devotion from her fans. It's very strange. Okay, well, pop up the clip where Wendy shits on the Help. I might have titled it that, but I have a couple clips from this documentary in case you didn't see it. And some would say, okay, well, Wendy is dealing with substance abuse. She's clearly a heavy alcoholic, and now has a diagnosis of aphasia. And
you remember, if it was from the Daily Mail, you remember, because there's one from the Daily Mail and there's like one from
This should be from
Skies.
TikTok.
They both TikToks. It's like you got two or three TikToks. That's about it.
I didn't say it says something about the help. Hold on.
Hold on. All right. I'll check.
So while this woman was receiving services, and again, you in the documentary, you see her being very abusive to the people who are assisting her. Um, and I don't know whether or not that necessarily can be attributed to her substance abuse issue or even her disability. From what I understand, this lady was a
I got
nasty.
it when you're ready.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. A very nasty person to begin with. Extremely entitled. Took that whole queen of media shit literally, like diva fucking behavior. And this clip, I think, is deplorable. And this isn't even the worst of how she behaved in the documentary, but this in particular jumped out to me. This is Wendy receiving a manicure, and listen to how she speaks to the nail tech. Let's take a look.
Only one coat, please.
You only want? Okay.
Yes, just one. Oh, God. What are you doing?
This just makes sure that the coat
No,
adheres.
no, take this off.
Okay.
You said the same thing. Take that off. Are you stupid? She's disgusted with me. That's okay. Young Diller. Can I take this off?
Yeah.
I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, one of the things I think her fans are concerned about is her health.
Are you concerned at all about her mental health?
In regards to Wendy's health, I'm not going to say that I'm concerned as if I'm worried about her.
So, a very small exchange, but I think a very telling exchange, you guys, because this is how you can tell the true character of people. Period. How do you treat those that are performing a service for you? How do you treat your Uber driver? How do you treat the waitress? How do you treat your nail tech? Like how do you treat people that are performing services? At least with the bare minimum of respect. And to ask someone that you don't know who is doing a service for you, if they're stupid, are you stupid? Mind you, the nail tech entered the space, at least how it was edited by the documentary. The nail tech had entered the space and told Wendy what a fan she was of her. And Wendy repaid her by asking her, was she stupid? And this is the kind of behavior that I don't think is unusual for Whitney Williams. I think this has been somewhat well reported, that she, again, maybe treats people around her pretty poorly, and perhaps her alcoholism and substance abuse and even disability helps to exasperate that. I want us to look next, if we could, at another clip here. Because you guys, this lady, watching this was a little triggering, because I have intimate experience with alcoholism. There are alcoholics on both sides of my family. One of my former partners was an alcoholic. And so out of all the substance abuse issues, right? Honestly, alcoholism is the one, or alcohol dependency syndrome, whatever the fuck they're calling it now. Alcoholism is the one I have the least empathy for, and I'm gonna tell you why. Okay. So for people who find themselves addicted to heroin or crack or methamphetamines, those addictions come after like one hit, two hits, right? Like you do crack once, you on crack. You do heroin once or twice, you on heroin, right? You do meth, you on the meth, like pretty soon. Alcoholics are different. Alcoholics have to practice to become good alcoholics, right? You have to build a tolerance. That takes time. That takes a lot of intention. I'm going to try to get drunk so I can be better at getting drunk, okay? And I think out of all of the substance abuse addictions, alcoholism is definitely some of the most dangerous. People can hurt themselves very easily whilst drunk. We know that drunk driving still remains a very big problem. on the road, not just here but around the world. People drive drunk, and it's a huge issue. And alcoholism is some of the most life destroying substances or substance abuse issues that you can have. And people sometimes are extremely proficient at being functioning drunks, right? Whitney, God damn, I keep saying Whitney. Wendy Williams. What I saw from her in that documentary, I said, this is a talented drunk. What do I mean by talented drunk? Where someone is so wasted that they're not even slurring, okay? Like they not wobbling, they not wavering. They can have a conversation with you and not slur a word. Now, if you know how they are sober, you might, if you know them well, you might could distinguish that this person is probably drunk. But if you didn't know them, right? If you didn't know, in some of those sit down interviews during this documentary when Wendy is all made up and she's sitting down with the producers. Now, she's not being coherent. She's not making a lot of sense, but you don't necessarily discern that she's intoxicated, right? Like, because she's not slurring, eyes aren't red, eyes aren't watering. She's not giving you those traditional physical presentations of being intoxicated off alcohol. And that is from years of heavy, intensive drinking. Trust me, I know. I know. And some of the things in the documentary I thought were perhaps a little contrived, where they were finding these empty bottles. But then again, as someone who was in a long-term relationship with someone who was dealing with alcoholism, I too would find empty bottles, random places all around. So my empathy for Wendy Williams as somebody that is dealing with a substance abuse issue and a mental health issue is there. I have sympathy for her as a human. But because I have seen a lot of her career, and seen the ways in which she used her position of influence not for the betterment of any people, let alone our people, right? And I think, to me, that I know I'm naive in this, and shame on me, but I'm sorry. Like, I do feel as though Black people who are in positions of who are visible should use their platforms to bring awareness to issues that impact our community in particular, or use their platforms in a way to help ameliorate the conditions of our people, right? I never saw Wendy Williams do that, y'all. And if she's done that and I missed the shit, tell me, because I'm telling you, only thing I've ever seen her do is occasionally admit to some of her shortcomings. She had to own up to some of these health issues while the Wendy Williams show was still on the air, because it was apparent that there was some sort of deficiency mentally there, cognitively. There was some sort of deficiency there. So she had to say something. But I'm not, I am not here for the rewriting of this Wendy Williams narrative, okay? The karma that I see her experiencing is not because she's fallen down drunk or because now she has dementia. That's not the karma. Her disability and her substance abuse issue are not the karma. The exposure here is the karma. Whether or not she intended for this documentary to get out, whether or not she knew she was in the right frame of mind to know what she was about to be broadcasting to the world, I don't know. But that kind of exposure that documentary revealed, the Wendy Williams who interviewed Whitney Houston would have never allowed herself to be exposed in that way. And I think she would have been absolutely horrified at the level of desperation that documentary revealed. One of the clips that I got, I didn't get it, but one of the clips that jumped out to me is when the woman assistant goes in to try to wake Wendy up, and she can't wake her up. And she's on the woman assistant gets on the phone with the male assistant, Will. And she's like, yo, she's like, I can't get her up. She's like, there's vomit everywhere. And I'm like, yo, that's down bad. That's down bad. Cue up for me, if you could, Will, the clip of Kevin Jr. So let me tell you guys this story. I said this on Instagram, and I know not everybody follows me on Instagram, which is fine. So let me say it here. So when I was an intern at Power 99 in Philadelphia in the year 1999, Wendy Williams was anchoring the morning show there. She was live and local in the morning in Philadelphia. I had auditioned, though not with any seriousness because I was a goofball, but regardless, I had auditioned for the overnight slot at Power 99, which is 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And there were a couple of overnights that I would be getting off the air at 6 a.m. and I would be bumping into the morning show. And I met and encountered Wendy Williams in person. And I said this on Instagram. Physically, she's kind of imposing because this bitch is big. She's just a big lady. She's every bit of 6 feet tall. She's large, right? And I mean, I say this from the perspective of a 5'2" person, right? So 6 feet period is big to me. A 6 foot woman, whew, that's a big chick. And then she had these big basketball titties, right? So her girth, her height, her augmentation, everything on her face, it was all imposing and a little off-putting to me because who needs all the basketball titties? Who needs all that? But she did. And to be clear, like I never really crossed words with her aside like good morning. You know, I mean, who am I? I was an intern. I wasn't about to chat up no fucking Wendy Williams, but I didn't like her in the first place because she had already been popping shit about Red and Meth, trying to, paint them as gay, which at that time, 1999-year-old me had a real problem. Don't be trying to say red man gay out here because we was all, not all, and I mean, that's to speak for everybody, but I was deeply immersed in hip hop and rap culture and it was homophobic, right? And even though I disagreed with homophobia, I guess my own homophobia was don't say the man I think is cute is gay because don't do that. leave red men out of this shit. So I didn't like Wendy Williams. I didn't like her shtick. I didn't like anything about her. I respected her. I respected her ascension, but I did not like the way that she did it. And I think that this documentary kind of coming full circle to reveal her in some of her weakest moments, in some of those same moments that she took extreme delight in revealing about other Black artists. She seemed to take pleasure in repeating and reporting on people's misfortunes. And that's something that I just never understood. And I never quite got why people loved her so much for that. But I wanted to point this out really quick about substance abuse and in particular alcoholism, everybody, because the alcoholism is bad out here. And in fact, I would put up that cdc.gov real quick because I do want to just make a little public service announcement real quick because I find that a lot of folks are either don't know, they don't show, or they don't care about what's going on in the bar. Okay. Now, what's going on in the bar is a lot of things. Will you find that joint for me? Because alcoholism and the overconsumption of alcohol, the way that alcohol is glamorized here in America, the way that we are all socialized into thinking that drinking is it. Even people at my big, ginormous fucking age, I'm in my mid-40s. The fact that niggas still want to get out here and get drunk and do bottles and shit, you niggas is old. I need y'all to cut it the fuck out because you cannot keep up this pace. Okay? So the CDC says that excessive drinking for women constitutes 4 drinks in a single occasion. Okay? For men, the number is 5 drinks or more in a single occasion. That constitute a night of heavy drinking. So women, if you've had 4 or more drinks in a single occasion, that's at night or wherever the fuck you was, at your sister's bachelorette party, whatever, 4 or more drinks, that's excessive drinking. For men, 5 or more drinks, that's excessive drinking. But when we looked at this for what it means for over the course of a week, how the CDC defines heavy or excessive drinking or people who on a consistent basis. So for women, the number is 8 or more drinks per week. Okay? You hear me, girls? What qualifies as heavy drinking, heavy alcoholism, according to the CDC, for women, that's 8 or more drinks a week. For men, that number is 15 or more drinks a week. And that sounds like a good amount. But think about your brunch. Think about when you and your cousins go out to brunch. Think about when you and your co-workers getting off work and y'all going to happy hour. I mean, these drinks can add up. And I think a lot of people have varying levels of alcohol dependency and they don't even know it. For my former partner, who, by the way, might I add, quit drinking and has managed to remain free from alcohol for, I believe, close to a year. Okay. But it wasn't until I framed these numbers to them and was like, so let's break this down. How often do you have 5 drinks or more? You have 5 drinks or more twice a week? 3 times a week? 4 or 5? Yes, 4 or 5. Those drinks add up, you guys. And alcoholism there's no benefit to alcohol. There's no nutritional benefit to alcohol. Alcohol doesn't do nothing but literally fuck up your body. It fucks up your liver. It fucks up your kidneys. It fucks up your brain. And for Wendy's son, Kevin Jr., to take such a specific issue with her drinking, he is intimately familiar with what this alcoholism looks like in his life. But I wanted to cue up that clip of Kevin Jr. if you could for me, Will, because a part of Wendy Williams' karma, aside from this public spectacle of her in declining health and declining, mental acuity, it's very clear that this lady has a lot of money, but she doesn't have a lot of friends. Okay, karma. Let's take a listen to what her son, Kevin Jr., said in the documentary.
Unfortunately, when she's in New York, she doesn't have anybody to really call on, to really want to do anything with her, unless they're being paid. I think that once she realizes that, that's when the lonely feeling really sets in. That's when self-sabotage occurs, and she drinks and smokes e-pens, and it just looks like, we're heading down the same path of self-sabotage.
And gang, the child, this young man, I think he's in his early 20s. I think he's like 21 or something. He said at a different point in the documentary that he's afraid that his mom is going to die. And I think that's a very legitimate concern that he has, given the amount that she drinks and the amount that she smokes. I think I've shared with you guys, my father was an alcoholic, a proficient alcoholic, a very talented drunk, also a very heavy cigarette smoker. I'm guessing at least 3 packs a day. My dad used to smoke. My dad died at age 53 of lung cancer. But I'm sure that all that drinking and all that heavy smoking and heavy drinking is what helped to shorten his life tremendously. And I look at Wendy Williams and I said, "Oh, she's not going to last very long on this trajectory, because you can't drink heavy." It looks like vodka was her choice of drink. She had bottles of Kettle One around the joint when she was filmed out at a restaurant. She was ordering Grey Goose vodka, y'all. Can y'all imagine doing vodka like that? She doing vodka and she's smoking vape pens. Now, for some reason, people think that vaping tobacco is somehow safer than smoking actual cigarettes. Incorrect. In fact, it's probably more intense. You're probably getting more nicotine and other chemicals in the vape because it's just more concentrated. So I see this lady drinking heavy and smoking heavy. No, at this rate, she is not going to be here long. And again, I'm not wishing a short life on her. I'm just saying that as an observer and someone who looked at this documentary and believed, I guess, 80 to 90% of it, right? Like, sure, it's a Lifetime TV special, and I'm sure it was played up in certain ways to make it look perhaps worse than it was, but it looked pretty bad. It absolutely looked pretty bad. And I just wanted to say, you guys, it's a shame that some are saying that this woman is being exploited by these cameras. I disagree. I saw a person who was so desperate for attention, so desperate for fame. You know, they came back to that story numerous times about her being 6 years old in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and how she knew she wanted to be on the radio. This lady wanted to be famous, and she still wants to be famous. She wanted to be on TV. I don't think Wendy Williams kind of cared at this point in her life how she came across on TV. She just wanted her ass back on television. And I still think that this whole thing is a setup for a comeback, because there's nothing America loves better than a redemption story, than somebody coming back or triumphing over, you know, their adversity, or over in most recent years, people are really cheering for people to overcome addiction. And I think that that's well and good. But I want people to be is honest. Okay. Like, you can feel sorry for Wendy Williams, and you can look at her and be like, down, damn, she down bad. But what I don't want to happen, I don't want the narrative to be rewritten about her. Like, she earned her stripes and was set at the position that she was, in part because of her talent, but in part because she never spoke up in any positive or meaningful or truly inspirational way for Black people, for Black women. She always spoke up for herself, right? Spoke up for herself. But did she speak up for Black women en masse? No. Did she speak up for Black people en masse? No. She's deeply anti-Black in some instances. She's even misogynistic. Yes, women can also hate women, right? She's misogynistic in her way. And all of her insecurities, despite the fact that she tried to project judgment and, like moralistic attitudes on celebrities' lives. Look at your life, girl. Look at you. Look at your life. You got a good man? Oh, you thought you did? Oh, you wouldn't present yourself in a bad light? Oh, you thought, huh? Well, disability and substance abuse can be humbling as fuck. So keep in mind, always, gang, you reap what you sow out here. What you put out in the world will come back and see you again. Okay? Count on that. Take that shit to the bank. So, if to be successful, you have to tear others down, the day will come when you too will be laid bare, exposed, and torn down and revealed for who you actually are. So please don't let these Wendy stands be like, oh my God, Wendy was so inspirational. Inspirational where? Inspirational when? Inspirational how? Ask the questions, please. But not just Wendy. I'm gonna get on this and get off this pretty quick. Oh God damn, it's 8:18. Because it's interesting. Like, we're kind of seeing the reconciliation come for people who are known shitheads and known abusive people in the industry. Like the video, subscribe, share, comment if you could. The news coming out this week about the latest lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs, everybody. Will, if you could pop up the Huffington Post article for me, please. Because this has made some waves around entertainment news. This is the latest lawsuit that Sean Diddy Combs has been hit with ever since former bad boy artist and his former, I don't know, was Cassie a girlfriend? Was she a hostage? Was she a prisoner? Could Cassie come and go when she please? I don't even know what to call Cassie. But former bad boy artist Cassie sued the entertainment mogul for allegations that he abused her sexually, restricted her freedoms, forced her to engage in sex with sex workers that she didn't want to, a lot of nasty things. Diddy ended up settling with Cassie one day after her lawsuit was filed. And since then, at least 3 other lawsuits have been filed, 2 by women who encountered Diddy, I believe, in the 90s, who alleged that he raped them. And this latest one comes from a producer, Little Rod, real name Rodney Jones Jr. And the headline reads, producer Little Rod accuses Diddy of sexual assault and harassment. And in his 72-page lawsuit, he alleges a whole RICO, a racketeering organization. And he also names, in addition to Diddy, the heads of Universal Music Group, the heads of Motown Records, and he names Universal and Motown Records as defendants as well. So what happened was Little Rod worked for Diddy for a very short amount of time, from 2022 to 2023. In fact, the lawsuit indicates that he worked with him less than a year, producing records from Diddy's Love album, some of which were actually Grammy nominated. And Will, if you could, I want us to cue up the video of Little Rod, because before filing this lawsuit, and we're going to get back to some of the details of the lawsuit here in a minute, but I want to set this up properly because chronology is important here. So before filing this lawsuit, Little Rod had posted on Instagram and asking his fans to support his GoFundMe page. Why would a Grammy nominated music producer who worked with the likes of Diddy need a GoFundMe? Well, because in true P. Diddy fashion, Diddy was playing funny with the money. Shock to no one. It's amazing to me how fuck Diddy can even get people to still work with him even before all these most recent allegations come out. But I digress. So I want us to take a look at Little Rod and listen to what he had to say about the experience of working with Diddy. Now, to be clear, he's only speaking about the fact that he was not paid in this video. He didn't talk about the sexual harassment and assault allegations he later made in the lawsuit. But this is his opening salvo for his grievances with Sean Combs. Let's take a look at the video.
I apologize to anyone this video may be embarrassing to. Just jump right into it. Some of you may know me or may not. I'm a music producer who's a writer and musician. Different genres. I started in the gospel and jazz and R&B and worked my way over to the hip hop side. I've been working on an album. I took a year off straight working on this album. That album is the Love album, Off the Grid by Diddy. And it's Grammy nominated right now as we speak. I should be celebrating, but the truth is I'm not. Taking this album on has required so much time, months and at a time, 16 hours to 24 hours a day. Sometimes, Diddy will request certain works to be done and tell us don't go to sleep until it's done. And the truth is we'll be up for days trying to accomplish that. I've tried to get my business straight with them on the album, but the truth is they're not playing fair. They hit me on below the belt on so many situations. Just dealing with this. It's the contract that they give me and the offer that they gave me was just disgusting. The producer fee, pennies, and on top of that, these guys are trying to steal my publishing. I can't go for that, so I'm fighting back. He's a fighter, but I'm gonna put in this fight. I gotta do it for myself, my rights, and most importantly, my kids. Taking my publishing or stealing it I'm not gonna let that happen. Not gonna let that happen. Again, this is one of those projects that took so much time from me. I missed holidays with my family, just out working on this album. At what point I was running around with the hard drives, the computer, just to run the ball on this album, to finish the production on it, make sure that this album came to, a good project with good vibes, just where it is right now. And just to be offered little to no participation in this is highly disrespectful. I won't be that guy 20, 30 years from now looking back saying, I wish I'd done this. I'm going to do this now. Doing this situation is not easy. Taking Puff to court, suing him is not easy. I don't have the monies that it's going to take to fight him in court. So I'm just asking, if you're in support, please. The link is in my bio to my GoFundMe. The money will go towards my attorney fees.
He also went on to say that he was only compensated, I believe, $29,000. And I think he was even trying to get the number up to $50,000. But Diddy and his people allegedly rebuffed that counter offer of 50 grand. This producer, Little Rod, said that for the better part of almost a year, he was running around the country behind Diddy, recording at all hours and actually recording all kinds of shit at all hours, not just in the studio recording this album. So let's go back to the HuffPost. So in the lawsuit, Little Rod said that again, he was not compensated properly for his what he claims are thousands of hours of labor as a music producer, recording, transporting equipment, producing, arranging, the things that producers do. It's a time consuming endeavor there. But he also says that he was doing some videography for Diddy. He said he was around Diddy so much, traveling with Diddy back and forth to Los Angeles, to Miami, to New York, that Diddy would often take Little Rod's phone and make videos and do recordings. And this is part of Little Rod's lawsuit, in which he has attached videos, he has attached photos, he has named some names in this lawsuit. In one instance, he says that it was widely known and accepted that at Diddy parties that the alcohol would be laced. The inference, I'm not sure if he named the substance, but the inference is that it was some sort of roofie, some sort of rohypnol, the rape drug, the roofie drug. You give people the drug and they alcohol, they don't remember what happens. Right. And that's the rapist's favorite. They love that shit. Love the roofies. It's not a shock to me that Puff Daddy was a roofie connoisseur. The dispensing of the roofies, that sounds about right. He also, Little Rod, in his lawsuit, alleges that numerous celebrities attended Diddy's parties in which there would be underage girls there available for sex. Some of the names are redacted out of this lawsuit. Some are speculating. No, let me not go with speculation, because then I won't be no better than that broad I was just talking about. What I heard was, no, that's trifling. Once the names get unredacted, then the public can discover that shit and people can think what they want. But one name that was not redacted was Cuba Gooding Jr. They said Cuba Gooding Jr. was kicking it with Diddy and in this producer Little Rod in Miami, allegedly, enjoying some of the hedonistic things that were happening at Diddy's soiree. But where Little Rod alleges assault or suspects that he was assaulted, one of his duties that Diddy tasked him with while in Miami was to go to the strip clubs or a specific strip club to wear the Bad Boy Entertainment baseball cap. And that would be a signal to the dancers that Diddy was in town and that Diddy was looking for some girls, some sex workers. So Little Rod alleges that after one of these parties in which some of these sex workers were recruited to the party, that he woke up in bed naked, had no memory what had happened, and was joined in bed with sex workers and Diddy. So that is where I believe he alleges rape or sexual assault. However, he does allege that he was subjected to unwanted touching, propositioning, and fondling from Diddy at any given time. And he says that he made it clear to Diddy that he was a straight man who, I'm not certain if he's married or has a longtime partner, but who was purported, in a relationship with a woman and who has a family. But when Little Rod communicated some of his concerns about Diddy's behavior, especially these unwanted sexual overtures to Diddy's chief of staff, a woman by the name of Christina, she just kind of shrugged her shoulders and like, well, that's Diddy. And a lot of people are calling this lawsuit like bombshell Epstein-esque, sort of, to the level of Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein Island and the long lines of exploited folks who were just there to be at the sexual whims of Jeffrey Epstein. And this lawsuit, Little Rod, alleges similar things. It's a RICO lawsuit, y'all. We're gonna have to ask Kamal Franklin what the fuck that means. that shit sounds serious. That shit sounds serious. Another incident in which Little Rod describes, let's see, there's underage girls, there's where he thought he may have been assaulted himself, and then the issue of famed producer Stevie J comes up. Now I saw this reported a bit on TMZ, because what Little Rod alleges in the lawsuit is that he himself was a tremendous fan and admirer of Stevie J, and he alleges, Little Rod, that Diddy sent him a screenshot of what Diddy said was Stevie J involved in a sexual act with another man, and Diddy allegedly using this picture or this image to entice or coerce Little Rod, be like, see, well, you like, you admire Stevie J. Well, look at Stevie J. This is what Stevie J is doing, right? But that has been refuted and debunked, because a gay porn star by the name of Knockout actually says that image is of him and not of Stevie J. So TMZ was using that one instance as a means of perhaps trying to discredit what Little Rod said. I don't take that as discrediting what he said, because what he said was, this is the image that Diddy sent him. This is what Diddy told him this was. Now, Diddy could have been lying, right? Probably was lying. Like, he was trying to get that man's goodies. Okay. He was trying to tell him anything to get his goodies, and trying to tell him that this is how Stevie J gets down. And see, look, that's Stevie J. I'm sure that this man, this Little Rod, if he is who he says he is, this hetero Christian, family man, y'all, the hetero Christian black family men are deeply uncomfortable with with gay things. They are so uncomfortable with the gay things. My guess is that Little Rod did not interrogate this image to blow it up and try to verify that it was Stevie J. He just took Diddy word for it that it was Stevie J. So my point is, that doesn't discredit this lawsuit to me. TMZ was trying to say there was red flags all over this lawsuit. I'm like, bro, 73 pages worth of very specific incidents, accompanied with media, supplementary evidence, photos, pictures, video. Shorty, that sounds like a well-documented lawsuit to me. Diddy has, of course, denied all of this. Saying that his representative said that the name dropping done in this lawsuit is completely, defamatory, inflammatory. We categorically deny, blah, blah, blah. But the problem is, when there's smoke, there's fire. And Diddy's recent lawsuits begin from the 90s, and this lawsuit concludes with incidents that this young man alleges happened in 2023. So we're talking about a decades-long pattern of behavior. P. Diddy is notorious for not only being an abusive boss, being very hard and impossible on his artists. It is well known that Diddy is an alleged thief of publishing, right? For decades, everybody knows this. And the fact that Diddy can still take advantage of hungry, green little gophers who really just want to get on in the worst way. Oh my God, Diddy wants to work with me. Stop ignoring these stories you hear about these terrible people, thinking that somehow it's not going to be you this time. This young man talking about, I don't want it to be me 20, 30 years from now. Nigga, you knew what kind of time the nigga was on when you met him. You knew that you didn't have your paperwork together when you met him. Because if you did, he wouldn't have been able to try to throw a little chump change at you, right? And yeah, so what was being alleged on TMZ is that Little Rod is out for money. No shit, he's out for money. He worked thousands of hours, according to him, and received a pittance, if anything, received pennies for all of his labor. Of course, he wants money. He wants to be compensated for the work that he did. But while he's at it, I'm sure he figured that using the experience that I find credible and I am inclined to believe, if not all, in part of what Little Rod said that he experienced while in Diddy's company, I find I find a lot of that believable because this is what he does, Diddy, that is. He not only financially exploits his artists, he sexually exploits his artists. This is known. And the rumors that Diddy has an affinity for straight men or straight presenting men is also known, right? And it's a shame that because of deep homophobia and patriarchy, that there are not more men willing to come forward and share what they have experienced or endured or were coerced into doing at the hands of P. Diddy. Cat Williams alluded to it a little bit during the Club Shay Shay interview. And Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp did not want to go down that, pardon the pause, he didn't want to go down that hole at all. He didn't want to go down that hole at all. Cat Williams said, I got the receipts of Diddy texted me, propositioning me. And Shannon was like, wow. Anyway, next question. And you saw a little bit that in the Cat Williams interview with Willie D as well. And it's like, there are men out here with Me Too stories about dudes that are purported to be about bitches, right? Diddy mess with J-Lo, mess with this one, that one, all the girls in the video, Diddy's bitches. Yeah, nobody wants to admit that that dude offered to fellatiate them, right? Not only because of his power, but because men who get unwanted sexually propositioned by other men, they don't want to be perceived as gay. And that's where the homophobia and the patriarchy got my brothers in a chokehold. Like, don't be silent and let these people abuse you. Don't be silent and let these people take advantage of the fact that you don't want to be slurred, unfortunately, slurred as gay, right? In our community, because our community is still homophobic as fuck. You don't want to get mistaken or get painted with the brush as gay. So this man, this abuser, this predator gets to continue to operate with impunity. That's not, I can't even go down all the younger people that Diddy is alleged to have abused. I won't even talk about the person that just performed at the Super Bowl or the little pop star that person actually discovered. Right? These are stories that I think are going to eventually come out. I think Christopher Williams is going to eventually tell his story. I think there are a lot of people are going to continue to find real inspiration to take down this tyrant, even if it comes in the form of public humiliation, especially if it comes in the form of running his fucking pockets, run that motherfucker's pockets. That is all that's Christopher Wallace's blood money. You feel me? That's a lot of people's blood money. That's Black Rob's blood money. That's Craig Mack's blood money. Like, run this motherfucker for his pockets, all of them. But I'm sorry. I'm inclined to believe victims or survivors until there is evidence to the contrary, right? And 73 pages, not to say that just filling up a lawsuit with multiple dozens of pages automatically makes it credible, but I don't think it's something that should be easily dismissed. And I don't want you to dismiss it. And I want us to try to find the bridges in the ways that we can have conversations that men can be comfortable and assured. I can't even say comfortable. No survivor of sexual assault or rape is ever comfortable coming public and talking about their trauma. And I get that. But because of that, that's how motherfuckers like Diddy have been able to go multiple decades pulling this kinds of shit, counting on shame, counting on the silence, counting on the stigma, and that's why it has continued to roll along. So we will be watching all of the lawsuits pertaining to Sean Diddy Combs. Again, you guys, 2024, the truth is coming out. The reckoning is unfolding. We are not yet quite in the spring. we are just coming out of the winter of 2024, and it is already on a hell of a roll. So, yeah, I think that's it. I think that's the show. Hold on, let me say goodnight to y'all. Now it's time to say goodbye to all my Negro friends and the non-Negroes too. We love y'all too. Just a reminder, gang, please join us tomorrow morning on the Remix Morning Show on Black Power Media starting at 8 a.m. Eastern. Wednesdays, y'all know what it is. Women's Wednesdays, Miércoles de las Mujeres. Please join us, please, and thank you. I believe Jackie and Ricky and Lucretia, I think, will be there. Maybe we'll get a couple more ladies dropping in. Y'all, I am going to be on Piper Carter's show. I'm going to be posting that information to the community section soon, so you can set your notifications about that. What's up, Schultzy 100? Thank you so much for coming through. Real quick, I wanted to say what's up to Renee Johnston. Renee was on the Letter Hack show. Was it yesterday or this week? She did a splendid job, you guys. You guys should go check out Renee. Renee, ooh, I love to see people getting their due, right? I love to see people getting recognized for their work and for who they are. You know what I'm saying? Renee been through a lot. Motherfuckers trying to throw dirt on her name out here. And look at Renee standing strong out here, getting recognized for the valuable work surrounding the documenting of all the cop cities across the country. So if you haven't watched Renee's interview yet on Letter Hack, please take a moment to do that. She did a good job. And what else did I want to say? I can't fucking remember. I thanked everybody who sent money. I'm trying to think. I feel like there was something else I was supposed to say, but I can't recall exactly what that is. So anyway, I smoke a lot of weed. I don't have alcohol related dementia. I have a marijuana related. I have marijuana related memory problems, and I'll take that. You know what I'm saying? I'll take that. I'll own that. So anywho, kids, I will see y'all back here on Friday. Do me a favor, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for spreading the word about what we do over here. I think one last person run us a super chat. Let me double check, because I don't want to forget anybody, because y'all know I do be grateful out here, if not forgetful. Oh, I already said what's up to Matthew. Already said what's up to Franny. Who else? Did I take another picture? I said what's up to John Kemper. I did. And then I did not say what's up to Chichi Macha. Hey. Thank you so much. Book. That's a dub. We'll take it. We see a dub. We will take that dub. Appreciate that, good people. So anyway, gang, be safe out here. We'll see y'all back here Friday. We'll see you back on Remix Morning Show tomorrow. On behalf of Will and Molly, thank you all so much. See y'all later. Bye-bye.